I spent most of my 20s and early 30s surfing. No regrets. It was a lot of fun. We lived on a little street called Alabama in Huntington Beach. And in the wintertime, when it would get cold and brisk like this, maybe down into the 30s and low 40s, I would drive my Volkswagen Bug down, parked next to Wind and Sea on Coast Highway. I surfed the south side of the pier with another guy. We were called the Gone Before Dawn Patrol. He was a principal at a school in the inner city. I was teaching at Huntington Beach High School. But here's the thing I remember most about those cold mornings. It was crossing the parking lot, either getting out of the water or going into the water. Because I didn't wear booties to surf back then. It was kind of considered, just not manly to wear booties back then. And I waited until I was older to actually surrender to thinking, yeah, I'm going to protect my feet. And so we would cross those parking lots in the mornings from the crossing Coast Highway in the dark, crossing the parking lots, and it was like running across little razor blades. It wasn't just waking up at 3:30 in the morning. It wasn't just surfing in the dark and hoping we could pick up the swell and the lights of the pier. But it was also running across that cold asphalt on our bare naked feet. Just in wetsuits, zipping into the water or coming out of the water with our toes cramped up from the cold of the water and then crossing again to go out to the car. You think, what in the world would make someone do something like that and then do it again the next morning and do it again and do it again? You see, there was something that drew us out there. There was something that called to us. We didn't want to miss the surf. We didn't want someone else to say, oh man, you really missed it. You should have been here. We counted our waves. Oh, you should have seen the tube I got. You should have seen this wave I got. Oh, you should have seen the wipeout I got. We knew what happened. We were marking our lives. Because even in the heart of saying we were out there on the edge and apart from society, we were still competitive. And I've discovered that in the world today, so many of us continue to be competitive about things we don't need to be competitive about. We're competitive in the church about how many people come to church. And so we try to make it really holy and we say things like, oh, well, God cares about numbers. There's a book in the Bible called Numbers. God cares about numbers. I mean, it says he fed the 5,000. Someone had to count those 5,000. God cares about numbers because he sent us into the whole world to make disciples. Then it kind of seems like if God cared about numbers, maybe Jesus would have picked more than 12, and maybe he would have picked someone who didn't betray him, and maybe he would have picked someone who didn't deny him, and someone who didn't doubt him. Lord help us, that's 25% of them. One of them doubting, one of them denying, one of them betraying. Sounds like Jesus must have had some pretty bad leadership qualities. I've had people leave the church saying, man, pastor just can't pick a good leader. He just can't stick with it. I think 25%. Maybe Jesus wasn't counting at all. Maybe Jesus was just caring. We count our Thanksgiving dinners. We count everything. Thanksgiving. I mean, we count pennies, we count nickels, we count dimes, we count quarters, we count turkeys, we count pies, we count bread, we count everything. But let me tell you the reason we count. Because we used to not count all that stuff. We used to say we want to feed this many people and we're just going to bring this many turkeys in. And then we found out that it's easy to run out. And so we discovered there were simple mathematic equations that we could do to know that if we had this many turkeys, we could feed this many people so that we could be prepared days in advance. And it was counting that was important to us. Not counting that was competition, but the counting that helped us complete the task today. I don't know what kind of counting you're involved in your life today. Whether it's with your money, making sure you have just enough. Whether it's with your debt, feeling better about yourself because of what you've taken care of. Whether it's with your personal quiet time, whether it's with your run, how many miles did you get in today? Whether you're still out there surfing and still counting, oh, it's worth crossing the parking lot this morning on that cold asphalt because I'm going to get those waves. Maybe what we need to do is stop counting and start coming to a completion of life and start giving ourselves to the community. Start giving ourselves just to say what I want is a continuity. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, relationally. I don't want to be mediocre. I want to be miraculous. And if you want to be miraculous, well, sometimes you need to count just to make sure that you have enough. Other times, once the counting is done, you need to just care. At Central Community, after this many years, fortunately, I'm involved in some of the counting just for the begging purposes because I do so much of the begging. But Ken has lifted so much of the load. Thank you, Pastor Ken. So many other people are stepping up. It's Linda and Ellen and the women have stepped in to take care of the load for what's happening today with the knockout the stuffing party. Crews of people will be there tomorrow night. Thank you. Corey and Cody and Mike and all those others who will be there for the all-night crew tomorrow night. There'll be people who will step in. Pam has been answering a phone. Karen answered so many phone calls leading up. So many people have stepped up in so many ways. Mark has come in and been answering phones. Thank you. Julia has stepped up again. Thank you, Julia. 32 Thanksgivings. Debbie always filling in every single gap. Tom and Ellen been so gracious. My friend Sam lifted a burden in so many ways. Thank you so much. But you see, none of it's about counting. It feels like that sometimes. And it feels like if we don't get enough numbers, we're failing. But what we're doing is we're just giving from the completion of who we are. And it's not about equal giving, it's about equal sacrifice. And if we want to have a genuinely wonderful Thanksgiving, we'll come and we'll share sacrificially from whatever it is that God's given us. If He's given you little, we have the opportunity to give much from the little. If He's given you so much, we have an opportunity to give much from the so much. We have the opportunity to be thankful. And if it feels like you're getting out and you're walking across that parking lot that's just cutting your feet with every single step, remember the waves are waiting. Remember, everything that you've been waking up for is just out ahead of you through the darkness in the light. We have the opportunity to bring joy to so many households. I am so thankful for you. For you who haven't counted the cost, but instead have given yourself completely. And if you're curious about what's happening in those buildings, I came by there today and the designers were out there. And so I just walked up to them. When you're an old guy, you can do that kind of stuff. I say, hey, what are these buildings going to be? On the end where the drive-through, they're putting in now a Farmer Boys restaurant. So we're getting a Farmer Boys up here. The dirt pad that's not yet poured, that's going to be a 7-Eleven, in fact, a 7-Eleven with a gas station on it. The other 3 stores aren't leased yet, but the workers say they think another Starbucks. They're not sure, though. I'm still rooting for a Pete's Coffee. If you want to put something in one of those 3 shops, better get out here. Better get out here quickly. Hey, God bless you. Have a fantastic day. They think a Stater Brothers is going in right on this lot. I think they must be wrong with the Stater Brothers over that took over Ralph's. But that's what they said. God bless you. Have an absolutely fantastic day. I know it's going to be great. I am so thankful for you. And especially those of you who watch this, whisper a prayer for Thanksgiving, share it. Come on out and be a part from now until Thanksgiving afternoon after cleanup. We can use you every single moment of the day. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving.